welcome to your own podcast.
Talk about sharing the mic. I think I'm a little more nervous on this side.
Listen, I am usually just muted, and here
I
I am.
know.
But
It's so
you,
fun to see you and hear you.
listen, if people don't know me, I'm Emily. I'm Emily Pickett, and
Yeah.
I work at Purvis Institute of Child Development, and I'm a communications coordinator, and I get to work on the podcast, and it's so much fun. But most of my work is behind the scenes, so it's
Yeah.
fun to be on the microphone with you today, Sarah.
Good to have you out front.
Well, we're really excited to chat with you. You have been a trainer with us for a long time,
Mhm.
have been with KPICD for a long time. And so I would love to just get started. The people know you, but maybe this is their first time listening. So could
Yeah.
you introduce yourself and tell us about the primary geographic location that you serve as a training and consultation specialist?
Yeah, for sure. I'm Sarah Mercado. Like you said, I've been around for, I don't know, 7-ish years, maybe a little bit more than that, with the KPICD. And right now, I would say my primary geographic regions are all of Eastern Europe and a lot of Texas and some of Florida. And then I also help out with our practitioner trainings. So my caseload kind of varies to be able to support the practitioner trainings.
All of Eastern Europe.
It's a
Wow.
dream. They're just the best people
I
in the whole
know.
world. I just love them so much.
Well, that is awesome. You're doing great work all over the world, is what it sounds like. And we're grateful for you. So,
Thank you.
well, if people have listened to the podcast before, they know a little bit about your TBRI journey. But I'm just going to
Yeah.
ask you, has TBRI always been something that's come naturally to you, or is this like a required practice?
Yeah, if you've listened to any episode, you've probably heard that this is not natural for me at all. I have to literally every day practice and pay attention to what I'm doing because the way I grew up was consequence reward or consequence or go isolate until you can be good enough to be with us kind of thing. And so for me, I can draw from that so fast. So this is a very can be challenging for me at times, but it feels so right. And so I'm so glad I know it, but there on the daily, I have to pay really close attention.
Same. So,
Yeah, yeah,
isn't it
yeah.
wild how you teach this stuff and then you go to respond quickly and you're like, oh, hi, it's my history.
Right. Yeah, it's so challenging. I talked to somebody I was telling them that recently about like my most recent redo that my kids gave me. And mine are, pretty much young adults now. And they were like, we just thought you had it all together. And I was like, oh, sweet thing. No,
0%. Yes.
no,
We're
0%.
all still on our journey, helping
Yeah,
each other out all the
yep,
time.
absolutely.
Okay. So sort of on that train of thought, what is your favorite TBRI principle and why?
Okay. My current favorite TBRI principle is the one that saves me. So
Mm.
um it's the connecting principle. It's the hardest one for me. I was even though everything was like super I say it, you do it, for me growing up and the beginning of my parenting journey, it the correcting, I was able to somehow kind of grab a hold of like some of the playful engagement, and the structured engagement pretty well. But connecting was hard because that really dug into my own history. So connecting is my favorite because it's the one that saves me.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love
So
that so much. Okay. So maybe the same answer, maybe something different. Which TBRI strategy is the easiest for you and which one is the hardest?
okay. Easiest strategy for me is playful engagement for sure. Across not just within the levels of response, but I enjoy play. I enjoy having fun with kids. I actually probably have flip-flopped from being super high structure to like needing to bring a little more structure in at times, because I enjoy the play so much. So I would say that's my natural go-to is playful engagement, and just playfulness in general. I love even now that we're bringing more just about plain old play in, as opposed to it being like one of the, embedded in a strategy, just learning how to play. So I'd say that's the easiest. The hardest for me but the one that gets the most practice is mindfulness. Because I am very quick to respond. So if I'm being mindful, which is hard, then I play really, really well. If I'm not being mindful, then sometimes I get frustrated or maybe need a redo. I've never been like a big yeller or screamer. I think I've learned that my nonverbal is probably just as hurtful as what I could say with my words. So I have to be really mindful of how I respond to things nonverbally. So mindfulness, and then of course I just love to play.
I love that. I'm right
Yeah.
there with you on the mindfulness. That one's
Yeah.
tricky.
It's the first the first class I ever taught with the KPICD, I was still working in foster care and we were doing Travis County, and Casey asked me if I would teach at one of our like coaching and support days that we had. And I was like so incredibly honored. And then she asked if I would teach on mindfulness. And I thought literally like, oh, I should just walk away and never come back. I'm so
No,
scared of it.
I'm so
But
glad you didn't.
yeah, no, it's been fun. It was fun though. It was not that fun, but it was fun. It scared me so much back then. Now I understand it more.
Yes,
Uh,
I love that. Okay, so you alluded to this earlier, but would you mind sharing a time that you needed a redo, either with your own kids or some kids you were serving, or even another grown up?
I
Can you
mean,
talk
like
about a
today, you want like a
listen? Yes,
yeah.
I feel that deeply. I already did a redo this morning on the way to camp drop off,
Uh-huh.
so I
Uh-huh.
get it.
Yeah. Man, parenting and working with kids is so hard. I think one of the redos that speaks most to me about why I need them so often is when I start to bump into my own stuff. And so one that really stands out, I really do get them all the time, but this one stands out a lot to me is when my youngest was trying to do school during COVID.
Oh yeah,
She and I together are not online learners. We like to be around people. And
sure.
she for sure needed her teachers to be more present in person. And so we were battling and also understanding the complexities of that. We lived in the country and didn't have good internet. There were a lot of barriers, but one day I just decided that I would wake up before her and hop onto the school's like grade. It's called Skyward. Like that's
Okay.
the it's where you can check into the grades and missing assignments and all of that stuff. And just right first thing in the morning, no coffee, jumped onto Skyward to see the laundry list of um, all of her missing assignments and her grades, which was just to begin with, not a mindful decision. Um, and so I promptly walked down the stairs because my office was upstairs and woke her up before she needed to be awake and just, you know, went into like, what's the deal? How could you even be sleeping? Why isn't this important to you? And, all the things. And she just like looked at me like I had lost my mind, which is fairly accurate. And I turned around and walked away and I got back up to this top of the stairs and I was like, oh, okay. And that doesn't always happen this quickly for me, but like I felt it so badly, like what I just completely shamed her. And I just turned around and I was like, okay, Sarah, like everything you're afraid of is about you because
Yeah.
I teach TBRI in that school district. So now, like,
Mm,
how does it feel to be me and have my kid not doing what they need to do when I'm over here, like, teaching how to, help kids along? And so I was just taking everything so personally, all my fears about college and all the things that didn't matter in that moment came flooding in,
yeah.
and I just let them take over. And so I just gave her a few minutes and walked back down and just yeah, I asked for it. I said, "Can I just have a redo and let me explain to you what happened?" And that's the great thing about our older kids is we can explain our fears to them, and that they don't have to that like our kids do, right? Like sometimes their fears drive their behavior. My fear drove my behavior in that moment because I wasn't being mindful and taking my time. And so I think that's usually what it's about. When I
Right.
get way off, it's usually about some fear that is only about me and not about them.
Totally. Totally.
That's
Thanks
fun.
for sharing that. I know it's really
Yeah.
fun talking about our failures.
Well, I think that like here's the reality. We all have them all the
Oh,
time, right? And I think if
100%.
if we don't share that we have failures with our kids, they'll never be able to own their own.
For
So
sure. For sure.
yeah, tricky.
Okay, so kind of going off of that, if you could tell your younger version of yourself that's just learning TBRI, and maybe this might have been when you were struggling with TBRI, what would you tell Sarah, what, 15 years ago? Something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. 2011, I think, is when that
Okay,
started to come through. I was a fighter. I fought it. I didn't think it would work. I had worked with some very challenging kids, so I was the one in the back of the room making all the faces and egging people on around me to not believe in this thing.
I would have
So
liked to be sitting at your table.
pretty cool. That's why I have such a soft spot for all the fighters because I know how that feels. I'm a recovering TBRI fighter. Um, I would probably tell myself, I probably couldn't have done it then, but I probably would have told myself to explore my feelings about it more reflectively of what I had going on than externally.
Sure.
Because I think all of that is about fear. So I'd probably just say, like, calm down and one step at a time. I was trying to do everything at one time and you can't. And so just taking one little bit at a time and slow down. You don't have to do everything overnight, and it's okay to wrestle with it because every time we bump into something, we learn something more about ourselves. So
Totally. I
yeah.
think it's so tricky because when you're learning a TBRI, at some point it's like this mirror is being held in front of you.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, okay, but go do it differently. But you're still seeing how
Uh-huh.
you're experiencing this relationship, and it's breezy and it's no problem
It's
at
so
all.
hard.
Just caught
It's
onto it
so
so quickly. I'm joking. Obviously. Have my struggles
so
with it like
hard.
everyone else, but
Oh yeah, for sure. But it's all right. We get there, right? And you
yes,
know, the I think our kids show us how well we're doing.
absolutely.
They're the
Absolutely.
mirror. They're the real mirror.
That's so good, Sarah.
Yeah.
That's absolutely it. Okay, well, we're going to transition into kind of some fun questions. Um,
Okay.
I'm going to rapid fire ask you, but you've already asked these questions to our other trainers, so you might
Yeah.
have quick answers, you might not.
I
Here.
yeah, okay.
Okay, this is the inside scoop on Sarah Mercado.
Oh.
What is your favorite food?
Oh. Uh okay. That changes all the time. Right now, I'm really into, like, it's summer, so I'm loving,
Mhm.
like, tomatoes and cucumbers and corn and, like, a salad
Yes.
like that. It's my favorite
Yes.
thing, all the fresh summer foods.
Listen, it's times like this that you should really work in the office because Robin Sheelander, our program coordinator, is bringing the goods from her garden almost every day to the office. There's a little basket of cherry tomatoes in there right now. I
I'm
know.
sad. Yes, I should come by more often.
Be
It's
there
a
in three
bit of a
hours, right?
commute. Yeah, right, exactly. See you in 3.5 hours.
Okay, sorry. I said it's not rapid fire when Emily's asking the questions because I want to chat about it. Okay, how do you take your coffee, Sarah?
My favorite drink right now is a hot vanilla latte.
Ooh.
I know I used to just be plain Jane, but somebody gave me one accidentally, and then I
Yeah.
got turned
And
on
you're
to
like,
it.
I'm worth this steamed milk.
Turns
Yes.
out that is not what you need, but that is what you want.
Like a hug for your inside. It's
It
so
is.
nice.
It's lovely.
Okay, if you were like playing for the Texas Rangers and you had a walk-up song like as a baseball player, or if you had a theme song as a person where you just
Okay.
walk into a room and this song plays, what is your theme song or your walk-up song?
So typically I would say I need to turn to you because I am like the least cool person on the planet to know
Oh,
this kind of thing. Um, but my favorite like kind of pump up song is probably from the Rocky.
oh, good. A classic.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a classic. So I actually need somebody a little more cooler than me to help me decide that because I'm not that in touch.
Mine would be like the Bluey theme song because that's my whole
Well,
life right now. So
yeah,
I found you this way.
yeah, I wouldn't know which one to pick, but I did go to the Taylor Swift concert with, one of my kids, and so I feel very cool right now.
You are very extremely cool. We could
Yeah.
find a T Swift walk up song for sure.
Okay, okay. I'll let you
Okay.
take care of that.
Okay. What is your favorite vacation spot?
Oh, the mountains,
Okay.
mountains, any mountains. Yeah.
Any mountain, anywhere. Okay. Favorite animal?
Well, I used to be a dog person, but now I have this little cat. And
What
she's like,
she's kind of like a guest producer on the podcast because what people don't know is she's present for most episodes.
yeah, yeah, she's swirling around here. She's actually currently sticking her paw under this door behind me.
Oh, sorry,
So
girlfriend.
little Rosie is hanging out back here, and she's clumsy. I don't know if you've ever seen a clumsy cat before, but it makes her 10 times funnier than otherwise. But
We
she's a
love
sweet
her.
little baby, and we love her.
She's the original TBRI cattitioner.
Okay, I see what
See,
you did there.
when we were online for training for a brief moment, we
Yep.
had lots of TBRI cats, dogs, and babies. So
Uh-huh. Yep. Cattitioners. She
cattitioners,
is.
love it.
She's
Okay, what about your favorite sports team?
okay. That's a really good question because I didn't really care for college sports a whole lot in my younger years. That could be part of my history,
Okay,
because there was a very large obsession with college sports in
sure,
childhood.
sure.
But I'm really into TCU these days because I have a TCU kid and they're winning, and it's really fun to see these kids all excited. So I
Oh,
think I don't really care what they're playing because all of the teams, it's not just football, which I
it's
think
so
is really fun.
fun.
Yeah, so I like streamed the baseball tournament, and
Hmm.
so I'm really enjoying TCU right now.
Go Frogs. We love to see
Go
it.
Frogs.
Okay, favorite hobby.
You know, my very favorite thing to do when I don't have to do anything else is to hang out with my people.
Yeah, I love that
Kids,
so much.
friends. I love to sit in the backyard and just shoot the breeze. I don't want to go to a crowded place, but that's my very favorite thing to kind of do. I told myself I was going to learn to play the ukulele because one of my kids has one, but I don't see that happening because I'm not trying.
Well, when you're not supporting all of Eastern Europe, maybe you could pick up the ukulele.
Oh, I may have picked the wrong instrument.
Or maybe it could be your newest foray into playful engagement.
There you go. There you go. I'll just walk around with a ukulele.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Okay, Sarah, thank you for letting me chat with you today on your very
Yeah.
own podcast. It was fun.
So fun. This is our podcast. This is
Yeah,
ours.
well, it's a good
We
time.
have so much fun. Yeah. Thank you.